Hello nerds! We are talking about music in this video. This is a pre-recorded clip, so my shirt's about to change, but it is going to be a great music section. If you want to see the entire news video, then you can check out the top link in the description. That being said, let's talk about all of the wonderful nerdy music that there is to talk about. Kicking off our music news section, we do have a follow-up. So we reported on this a little while ago, and we haven't really heard much about it since. Honestly, this was probably over a year ago that Kiss announced that they're going to have a Las Vegas residency once they're done with their final tour. Well, tickets for that residency went on sale, and it would seem that they are a lot less popular than they want to be. So the residency has been canceled. The initial news report on this did say that it was because of, quote, soft ticket sales, though that was later revised to something else. But really, you gotta know what that is, right? That is 100% because of soft ticket sales. But I don't know, maybe that's just my bias showing through, but that is where that stands. If you're planning on seeing Kiss in Vegas, so sorry, Charlie, I don't know what to tell you. But that is all we have for follow-ups. We don't have any corrections, so let's get into new music. If you have been following on the social medias, then you already know this happened. Or if you are just generally one that follows the music, you probably know this already happened. But if you are neither of those two things, then you are going to learn this for the first time right now, and that is Limp Bizkit has put out a new record. They announced, this is kind of a follow-up because we talked about this a few weeks ago, that Fred Durst said that the new record is coming very soon, but he didn't have a specific date. Well, on Friday, they announced that they were going to be releasing the record on Halloween, which was Sunday. So, new Limp Bizkit record. I did say be ready for a full album review. We are going to cover that right now, actually. So, it's going to be, I'm not going to do, again, the reviews are kind of going through a little bit of a revamp, so things are a little bit different for the review structure these days. That being said, Limp Bizkit's new record, Limp Bizkit Still Sucks, is going to be a huge record. This record is easily the best proper album that they have done since Wes Borland has rejoined the band. I would put this right up near the significant other area of things. If you are curious as to my top 3 Limp Bizkit records, then you can jump over to the Clips channel and see I did a quick and nerdy video about the top 3 Limp Bizkit records. I try to stay pretty objective with those things, though it is obviously colored by opinion. The biggest difference between that video and my opinion is I would honestly put Significant Other at number 3 and not Hot Dog Flavored Water, but you know, that's just me. Anyway. So this record is what I wanted Gold Cobra to be. This record is what I expected Results May Vary to be. This record is where they should have left off over 15 years ago. Then the Unquestionable Truth Part 1 record comes out, and that marks a different path, a different sound for Limp Bizkit going forward. That's what I thought the trajectory for this band was going to be. That is not exactly what happened by any means. This new record takes the elements that kind of worked from the Gold Cobra record and makes them really work. There are some really interesting choices as far as the overall structure of the album. It is only approximately 33 minutes and change, I believe, in total in length. So very short songs. Matter of fact, there isn't a single song on this record where there is over 3.5 minutes of actual music. There is one track that runs over 4 minutes long, but that's because there is a skit as part of that track. The actual music on that track is less than 2 minutes, roughly. So yeah, very interesting structure choices, especially when you consider that Wes Borland, before this record dropped, Wes Borland made mention in an interview that they had recorded instrumentals for over 30 different tracks, and this is what they went with. So that was kind of one of the things that kind of brings this back overall for me. But again, this takes anything that you liked off of that Gold Cobra record and makes it work 100%. There are other elements beyond that, obviously, because that record was very limited in scope. And this record, even though it's only 33 minutes and change, has a much broader feel, and that, I think, is one of the things that we really appreciate about this band, is that they do not let themselves get pigeonholed, even though they are considered to be the godfathers of the nu metal genre. They still like to stretch their legs. Fred, like I called when we were talking about the Dad Vibes song when it first launched, Fred definitely has those moments where it is a straight up hip hop song. Standout song on the record like Turn It Up or Love the Hate, those tracks are just straight up a hip hop track. But then you have the opener, which is Out of Style, which is what you would expect out of modern Limp Bizkit. There are elements that harken back to the early days of Limp Bizkit. There's very, very little that really reminds us of that Unquestionable Truth Part 1 record, but by and large, this is exactly down that same niche that they carved out with Significant Other. This goes right up that same alley. So Significant Other, Chocolate Starfish, Gold Cobra, and this album are all sitting together down that niche. And I would say, honestly, personal opinion, Significant Other is leading the pack, though it seems that the popular opinion is that the leader of that pack is the Chocolate Starfish record. This record, though, is contention between those two. This is absolutely going to be one of their records that goes down as one of the best, because it's everything you want out of Limp Bizkit, and they're adding new elements. Even now that they are kind of the punchline to the joke at this point, they're in on the joke, and they're giving you new material. They're giving you new sounds that you've never heard Limp Bizkit make before. And again, we have another, so the Love the Hate track is one of the ones where we get something different. We get a little bit more of Fred stretching those lyrical abilities. We get some very interesting rhyme back and forth, a lot more spoken style, a little less rhythmic style. But then we also have tracks like You Bring Out the Worst in Me, which gives us a new vocal delivery from Fred. So we have, traditionally, Fred does three different kinds of things. He does the scream, one style of scream. He does the hip-hop kind of rhythmic delivery, and then he has his melodic delivery. And that's, by and large, what he has done since Significant Other. Well, and he played with a different style scream on the Unquestionable Truth record, but again, we can't lean too hard on that record as far as indications for future sound, because that was, by and large, a one-off kind of experience. So this one, we have those three elements of Fred's voice that we have come to expect, and then he's adding a more raw, emotive kind of scream. I'm not going to call it an emo scream because it's not coming out of his nose, and he's actually using his diaphragm to make it. But the EQ on this style of vocal in this track, there's one other track on the record that escapes me right now as far as the name, but this track, and then again one other track, he's trying out this new sound with his vocal. Different EQ, different delivery, different performance, different emotion behind it. So very interesting that even at this latter stage in their career, they are still playing with that sonic landscape. You can't go wrong, speaking of sonics, with Wes Borland's guitar work. Oh my lord. There's a reason why this man is the reason why people give any sort of credibility. Even when Limp Bizkit was at their lowest with Wes, he is the reason this band has had credibility for so long. The rest of the band, though, are definitely still unsung heroes of this. Wes isn't carrying the whole thing on his back with Fred just talking about it. We have Sam Rivers, who is the reason I picked up a bass, and also has won many, many awards for his bass playing. And he definitely shows why he holds his own against Wes on on this, on this record. And then behind the kit, we have John Otto. And when nu metal was at its peak, I would say John Otto was probably the second best drummer in the subgenre. The first best being David Silveria from Korn. David has fallen really far from that. So now easily, without question, John Otto is the best drummer in this genre and shows it on this record. Definitely holding down. But the atmospherics, I think, is another thing that goes kind of unnoticed for Limp Bizkit, even though that is one of the key elements of them, and that is DJ Lethal. And DJ Lethal and John Otto apparently have worked out whatever issues that they had previously and are both back in the band at the same time, long enough to put out a record, so that is also fantastic news. So, recommendation, would I recommend this album? Yes, I 100% would, and not just because I am a Limp Bizkit fan, but because this is legitimately, the first half of this album is what you would expect out of a modern Limp Bizkit. The second half of this album is modern Limp Bizkit taking those expectations and tweaking them a little bit, because we have an acoustic track, again, those different vocals, we have just so much is going on musically that anyone should listen to this and create an opinion, because it is a record that deserves your opinion, good or bad. So my letter grade for this album, just to give some sort of weight to this letter grade, in the world of Limp Bizkit, by and large, if you are talking about performance-wise, if you are talking about the quality of the music as far as the genre of metal is concerned, or nu metal even, then probably your vote for the best album is going to go to either $3 Bill or Unquestionable Truth Part 1, because those two records are damn near flawless. So that would be an A+. So anything beyond that, anything lower than that, obviously we have to grade on a curve. So if that is the gold standard Limp Bizkit, that being the A+, then we are sitting right about a B+ with this record, which honestly, they don't have a whole lot else above a B+. And I am a huge Limp Bizkit fan, so that is where we're sitting with that. We have other new music to take care of, though. Our first reaction for the episode has to do with Nonpoint, a band I never thought I'd talk about again, but they did something that brought them back into the conversation, and that is they covered When Doves Cry, the Prince song from forever ago. So let's get into this real quick. The guys in Nonpoint working on relevancy, working on adjusting to a different soundscape than when they were kind of relevant back in the early aughts, and this is a different world and different expectations for the ability of the musicians. This cover song is interesting. There are definitely some cool choices that were made, especially considering the vocal delivery and production on the vocals. But as far as the overall feel, generally speaking about this track, skip it. If you like When Doves Cry, this song will not do anything good for you. If you're not a huge Prince fan and you kind of are into the nu metal, you might dig this track, but by and large, it's not worth your time. There is one interesting additional bridge towards the end of the song that kind of gets into a different kind of heavy tone that you would expect from a nu metal band, but really, by and large, this song is not worth your time. So yeah, it's production-wise, we have some serious rock bass syndrome. Performance-wise, that compounds the issue innumerably. The rock bass syndrome is just all over this place, so there's really not a whole lot going on the bottom end. The only thing that is kind of redeeming about this is the vocalist, and actually the lead guitar player has a couple of moments of, okay, maybe, nope. So yeah, that is our first impressions for the Nonpoint cover of Prince's When Doves Cry. Honestly, go listen to Leo Maracchioli do some cover songs. I think he does When Doves Cry, and I'm pretty sure it's a million times better than this. So if you're looking for a metal cover of this song, then that's the way to go. Our next first impression is the new Gojira track. The name of the song is Sphinx. It is from their newest record that came out earlier this year, Fortitude. Same record that the last track we reacted to and did first impressions for came from. So this new Sphinx track from Gojira has the trademark Gojira sound. If you were a big fan of the From Mars to Sirius record, then this new album is right where you want it to be. Now, if you are looking for some expansion as far as these guys as musicians, I don't think that is happening, as much as I hate to say that, because Gojira is amazing. So even them being lazy and resting on their laurels is better than most. So this is definitely a track that is worth checking out. I really, really dug the production on this. There is a bottom end on this, though we have some more rock bass syndrome going on here, just because the general play style of their bass player is rock bass syndrome. He is just playing the root note, by and large, of what the guitars are playing. He is the bottom end, which, again, not necessarily anything inherently wrong with that, especially if you've seen these guys live, then you know that he puts on one hell of a show. The whole band, not just the bass player, but the whole band puts on a ridiculously awesome show. So you can forgive the rock bass syndrome because of those reasons. So all of that being said, Sphinx is definitely a track to check out. If you are a Gojira fan, this will keep you as such. If you've never listened to Gojira, this is definitely a good representation of what the rest of their catalog sounds like, and it is worth a listen. So that is what we have for new music, first impressions, and whatnot. We now move into tours. So the first tour that we're talking about, Machine Head and Amon Amarth have announced that they're going on tour together in Europe. Their support will be a new band called The Halo Effect, which has a couple of older members from In Flames in it. So that's pretty freaking noteworthy, especially on the European circuit, because In Flames is gigantic out in Europe, as well they should be here in the States, but you know, it is what it is. So that is the openers. The name of the tour is Vikings and Lionhearts. If you want to buy tickets and you are in the European Union somewhere, there is a link down in the description that you can follow. The tour starts September 8th of 2022, and it runs through October 22nd of 2022. September 8th starts in Nottingham Arena in the United Kingdom, and then the 22nd of October is in Stuttgart, Denmark. All right, so our next tour is Dream Theater, which they've announced the supporting act as Devin Townsend. I love Devin. This is also a European tour, starting out April 20th in Belfast, Ireland, running through May 16th in Stockholm, Sweden. Once again, link down in the description if you want tickets. And then we have a very, very tiny tour has been announced. The band Sleep has announced they're going to be doing 3 shows right around 420. Go figure. 2 of those 3 shows will be in Colorado. One in Denver, one in Colorado Springs. The 3rd show is going to be in Albuquerque, New Mexico. They are going to be April 18th, 19th, and 20th. The 20th is the New Mexico show. Just check out their website. There is no other tour dates announced for Sleep, as the members of the band are busy working on their primary projects, as Sleep has become a secondary for the 3 of them. So that being said, we do have one piece of actual news. Wow, I almost closed this out without doing the thing. So we have one piece of actual news, and this piece of news comes from the band Superjoint, formerly Superjoint Ritual. This is one of the many side projects for Phil Anselmo. They have announced that they are no more, once again. So the supergroup of Superjoint Ritual, because all of these band members are in other bands as well, other more established bands, one could argue. So Superjoint has announced this week that they will not be making any new music. They did finish a record about a year and a half ago and toured on it. as much as they could through the COOF, but as it stands right now, they are no longer a thing, which kind of sucks because that was my introduction to Hank Williams III. If you know Hank 3, then you know that that was a pretty significant introduction into my musical vocabulary. So, kind of bittersweet because I know that means we're going to be getting a lot more music from their other bands, and their other bands are also great, but I really dug Superjoint, so it is what it is. All of that being said, that is the music section today, nerds. And that is the nerdy music news. If you want to see the entire news episode, then check the top link down in the description, assuming you are watching on YouTube. If you're watching on a different platform, then go check out the YouTube, youtube.com/generallynerdy, or generallynerdy.net is where all of the things get posted for free, and patreon.com/generallynerdy is the place to go get behind the paywall and see all of those things. So go check out the full episode, go check out other stuff that's happening on the page. You can see the links right there to the side of my face. Otherwise, thank you very much, nerds. We're gonna go, but before we do, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.